It's not too hard to find nice things to say about The Division, especially as it unfurls in its strong opening hours. Its open-world version of Manhattan is both gorgeous and authentic, its third-person combat is sound, and its RPG elements run surprisingly deep. And yet, next to every good thing The Division does, there's a big, ugly asterisk. Virtual Manhattan is as full of beautiful sights to see as it is devoid of worthwhile things to do. Enemy encounters are spread thin, like too little butter over too much bread, creating long stretches of eventless walking. There are practically no truly random events, and despite being always online, you'll never happen across another player character. The only real action comes in the form of preset, one-time only missions, and once you've done all of them in a zone, there's no material reason to come back besides some boring collectibles. All I really got from The Division's static open world was a breadcrumb trail to follow and some conveniently placed people to shoot at the end. And making with the shooty-shooty is pretty good, if a bit standard. The cover-based gunplay is a few steps towards Tom Clancy from Gears of War, but not many. Things like muzzle travel and bullet spread play a big enough role that guns have their own distinct feel. Cover is important, as is covering fire, since enemies can actually be properly suppressed. Should you play in a squad of up to 4, this makes co-op tactics especially rewarding. However, the bullet sponginess of the enemies does rob the shooting of tactile power. Still, the mere fact that the action leans so heavily on sharp aim and smart tactics makes it rewarding when that last foe in a pack finally goes down. That goes double for the main story missions, which throw you headlong into some seriously heated firefights. Here, the action is concentrated and highly demanding. With a full squad using complementary skill loadouts, these sections become the clear highlights of The Division. Thankfully, you can easily matchmake and fast travel directly to these battles, bypassing parts of the open world slog. Not for long though. You'll rarely come out of one mission with the gear, skills, and XP to be successful in the next, so it's back out into the empty streets again to make progress. That said, when you do make progress, you really feel it. The 3 core stats that drive your character's performance really move the needle, to the point where changing out just one piece of gear can make differences you'll immediately notice in your next battle. As a result, gear choices are engaging almost right away, making the prospect of finding new, shinier loot very enticing. The problem is how fragmented the various ways of progressing are. For example, the most reliable way to get great gear is through the Dark Zone, The Division's walled-off PvPvE area. The catch? You don't gain XP towards your character's level there. Even if you did, new skills don't come with levels, but by upgrading different parts of your base. For that, you'll need supply points provided by side missions that don't dole out much in the way of XP or gear rewards. So, you could be a high-level character with only average gear and a few skills, a character with tons of skills but poor gear and a low level, or somewhere in between. It's a muddled system that makes it hard to accurately gauge just how strong you really are. Sadly, once you do hit the level cap after 25 or 30 hours, The Division's endgame is pretty thin. It's mostly just repetitive daily challenges, but what can be thrilling at this stage is the Dark Zone. The sense of omnipresent danger here is a stark contrast to the empty world surrounding it. Random packs of elite enemies patrol the streets, and other agents run around either shooting at them or shooting at you. Your allies one moment could be your killers in the next, and the temptation to prey on a weaker player creates a tense, dynamic environment that kept me looking over my shoulder. Unfortunately, the rewards for attacking others for their loot are far outweighed by the risks of being labeled as a rogue and hunted zone-wide, resulting in a far less fluid environment than was present in the beta. It's also a shame that there's such little incentive to engage with the Dark Zone until you hit level 30, because The Division had already largely worn out its welcome by the time I got there. There's definitely some decent meat to chew on in The Division, but it's usually surrounded by too much gristle to enjoy it for long. Both in combat and out, there are some clearly good ideas, especially the tense and dangerous Dark Zone, but they're not spread evenly or interwoven cleanly enough to form a cohesive, consistently enjoyable loop. Ultimately, The Division's overly busy, conflicted design philosophies drown its best ingredients in a bland slurry that never quite comes together. For much, much more on The Division, keep it right here on IGN.